Every single colleague I have in Gaza has been murdered.
They sit there and look at him and pause. And they say, okay, well, there's a rap beef going on.
Everybody in Gaza is like, oh my colleague. God damn, he doing it again.
The Zeus Network CEO, Lemo Plummer's father, is the first bishop of Israel.
You also bring youth here. It's so important that the next generation of Black America learn about Israel and get involved with Israel.
Because the story of Israel must be told. We have a responsibility to the Jewish people, and we have an obligation to God.
It's vitally important that African Americans have a relationship with Israel.
Joe Budden dismissing the assassination of Mark's colleagues in Gaza is part of the same cinematic universe as the Zeus Network being connected to Israel, specifically through the Black church. They're appealing to the same crowds, and I actually wonder how much Mark is actually influencing people on Joe Budden's podcast, because Joe Budden just acts as a foil to him, because the crowd that they're speaking to is a crowd that has been told they don't need to care about any of this. So Mark comes off as the know-it-all, too deep, too woke friend on the podcast that they can just ignore as they're taking the cues and the lead from Joe, the host of the podcast. And that cavalier ignorance is part of what fuels the Zeus Network and all of its kind of shows. It's the same energy as the Shade Room, just appealing to people's baser instincts. Baser instincts like xenophobia, American exceptionalism. This is an instance in which American exceptionalism is 100% at play. Everything you'd associate with an alt-right pipeline, because it is an alt-right pipeline, Zeus Network, Shade Room, Joe Budden watchers are conservative Black people. They might not be Republicans, they might vote Democrat, but they're conservative in culture and in ideology. That is the baseline political standing of many Black people who don't think about social political issues on a consistent basis. And with Zionism being a fascist ideology, there's not that far to go from pushing folks from conservative to fascist via the alt-right pipeline. They're already kind of halfway there. That said, no matter how ignorant these spaces are, they're still very popular. Because we've been having conversations about how the United States extracts African-American media as its own and then sends it and exports it to the international community, I'm betting that they're hoping that these media spaces start to parrot Zionist talking points so they can export it externally, so that people can consume Zionist talking points via the media that they think is cool or interesting.
I will always be the voice for the people in Israel. I will always stand behind the country of Israel, the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather in Israel. I will always be here for you guys when you guys don't have a voice.
I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief.
But it should be based on the thesis that we're the best, not because we are a total shade of a skin color. And that's a point of view that I have now that I'm resting on. And if diversity, equity, and inclusion ever comes back in style, cool. But in the meantime, I want to focus on being the best because I can bank on that.
You know what I'm saying? Always loving God and keeping the faith. That's why I told people when these food stamps and stuff get cut off, don't worry about that. See, Black people, we've been getting our shit cut off. We've been getting our doors kicked in and stuff. This is not for us. So don't take this as personal about the food stamps and all that. I'm actually glad they cutting some of these niggas off food stamps, because some of us need to not be on food stamps, because it's a trickle-down effect. You get the food stamps, then you go buy the food that give you cancer.
So do we see a pattern of behavior here or what? Because the community is not okay. Merch coming soon.